And you got me that way, and I'm wondering if I came on too strong. Walking side by side and backwards down the stairs, all wrong. Can't even read.
We are back, everybody. Episode 8 of the Blue Collar Business Podcast.
Hello.
We're just pumping out episodes. I really didn't expect us to be this diligent.
Well,
but here we are.
I think it's been like 2 weeks, actually.
Oh, that's true. We did skip a week.
Yeah.
My bad, everybody. I don't remember why.
But, I mean, 8 episodes. I feel like that's a good amount.
Oh, it was our sister's wedding. We had a decent excuse, I feel like. We were busy.
For sure.
Moving tables and chairs and whatnot.
I think I
Not
moved.
getting paid for it.
Yeah, I think I moved tables and chairs for like a full 12 hours. So,
Yeah, it was fun stuff.
that was a busy weekend.
You were doing more work than I was. I was happy about that. So, this is, what is our show, Grant?
The BCBP.
And what do we do?
We talk about blue collar business stuff and how our business goes on and like what we have learned from doing it over the last few years and trying to help others learn from listening.
I put Grant on the spot. I usually do the intro, and
I know
he was fumbling around with that one.
Yeah. Well, you seem a little tired today.
That's true. Pretty low energy. But I got this coffee that you gave me, and I think it's going to
hope it
bring me
helps,
some
yeah.
life pretty soon.
I think you woke up about 15, 20 minutes ago. So
I woke up, maybe,
you had to drive
maybe
first,
an
so a
hour
little
ago,
longer.
and I had to drive like 25 minutes. You're further than I thought you would be.
it's not a super short drive.
No, can't go on a freeway.
Nope.
All right. This show, we just want people to be motivated to do what we do, starting our own business. Simple. I mean, we do like handyman stuff, but honestly, the principles of our business can be applied to whatever your skill is in the service sector. And I think a lot of people don't realize that they could just go off on their own and try something. Put out business cards, put out advertisements online. Some of them are more expensive than others, but there's ways to find clients, and there's always people out there that want, to have somebody who knows what they're doing do it for a good price.
Yeah.
And you can make a decent living. Like, we're making a decent living doing this, and we prefer it way more than working for somebody.
I mean, as long as you do good work, I think it's like there's definitely money in it for you. doing
Yeah,
it
that's
for
true.
yourself.
You got to do quality work. That's something I feel like we don't mention enough, is that it's not like you could just slap a business together and just start running
no
with
experience
it with
and
no
just-
skill, no
yeah.
experience. Like, we did have to kind of learn how to do this for a while before we were off on our own.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the skills, then maybe it's not your time yet.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like, I don't know, for people who are trying to, show how to do this, it's like, okay, maybe they're working for someone else. Maybe they know a little bit. And they're like, okay, maybe I can make more money doing this on my own. And
Yeah.
might be the thing for you to do.
Or I think if you just wanted to focus on one thing and be proficient at it, you could do that even if you don't have a lot of other skills more broadly. Like, if you wanted to just focus on doing drywall,
Yeah.
that's not that hard. Even
Yeah.
though a lot of people think it's impossible, it's really not that hard. If you just try it a dozen times, you're going to be better than most people.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to have tons of skill to start a business, but
No.
again, you do have to do quality work. If you're not going to do quality work, then you shouldn't be bothering.
Yeah. Have you seen some bad work out there? I feel like I've seen like some past work that someone has brought me on the fix, and I was just like, how are they, getting hired?
Yeah.
It's like really bad.
I feel like 90% of the time, though, it's something the homeowner tried to do themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's always bad when they do that.
That's what
But yeah,
the
there
drywall
is.
job I was doing was the homeowner tried to fix it up.
Oh,
It
yeah.
didn't look great.
Well, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a temporary
It was a
fix.
garage,
It lasted
right?
for a few years. So
I guess in a garage, it's not as big of a deal.
yeah. Yeah. Wasn't too bad.
So I want to let's just dive into our episode notes here, and we want to talk about
What
relating.
about our opening question though?
Oh shoot, you're right, man. You're really on top of it today.
Yeah. Garrett, what job are you working on this last week or two?
Well,
If you've
what did
had
I
one.
do? Wow, my brain is barely
It's
working right
working
now.
like half a mile.
Do
a
you know
minute
what
here.
you were doing?
Yeah. Well, I finished up that drywall one. That was like, I guess last week I finished that up. And then I was actually like fixing up some windows, just doing like some odd jobs this week. Like window caulking on the outside that was just cracking apart. That's what I was working on
Mm.
yesterday.
How did it go?
It went all right. I think I'll be done with it after another day's work. So it wasn't too big of a job.
Nice.
It'll look a lot better than it does now. Like it was just falling apart.
Wow, what did I do? I don't know why I cannot remember. I definitely did a job since our last episode. It's been like 2
Okay.
weeks. Oh, I did some fluorescent lighting for somebody.
Fluorescent lighting? What is that?
You know, like the big long tubes.
Oh, those things.
Yeah, yeah. This
Is
guy
that what they're
called
called?
me.
Fluorescent lights?
Yeah, to my knowledge,
Okay.
some guy called me and he's like, "Hey, do you replace light ballasts?" And I was like, I have no idea what that is, but
Not
I'm
sure.
just like Googling it as he's talking. I'm like, yeah, I think I do. And then it comes up and it says ballast is like um, it's like a transformer sort of for the fluorescent light to keep the amperage and voltage at a like steady level
Okay.
and DC current. So that's all it is. And I'm like, oh, I could do that. So I'd never done one before, but I was just like Googling and I'm like, yes, I do that. So I ended up doing it a few days later and it was not that hard.
All right. Nice.
But yeah, that was a pretty small job. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot. It took like an hour and a half.
Okay.
No, it took like an hour. No, wait, it took 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah, because I went there and they said replace the ballast. And then I'm like, well, let's make sure that it's not the lights. And then I switched them out for some fluorescent tubes from another part of the house.
Yeah.
And they worked. I'm like, okay, so the ballast isn't broken.
Oh, smart thinking.
So then I went to Home Depot to get some fluorescent tubes. I come back and they don't work. I'm like, why in the world do these not work? This doesn't make any sense. So then I go to Ace Hardware and get some different ones, and they work fine.
Are they like
and I was not
different
impressed with Home
wattage
Depot.
or something?
They were identical.
That's weird.
The ones at Home Depot. Philips brand, everybody, they're trash. I don't recommend.
That's really weird.
Or maybe it could have been user error because I don't work with fluorescent tubes very much.
Maybe the ballast was broken and
I don't know.
it is only putting out so many watts or something.
I like to think.
I really don't know though. So.
Oh, another thing I did that is worth mentioning is I went back to somebody's house who I had worked for like a year ago. They had me do something stupid where I put up like these metal grates over their what's the term for the wood the fascia of the house.
Yeah.
There's like holes in their fascia to vent the attic.
Right.
But they didn't have grates over it. So a bird was getting in and just it was a woodpecker. It was just so loud. It was just beating apart the attic. And so they were really annoyed with it, had me cover it up with metal grate. But I guess last week one of the grates fell off of the house that I had installed. Or the woodpecker ripped it off. I don't know.
Could be that, yeah.
So I was like, I think the right thing to do is to go fix it for free because it was my work.
Yeah.
So I went out there and I fixed it and I didn't charge him.
Could have just been the bird, yeah, getting back at you for taking away his home.
It could have been, honestly. I was a
Yeah.
little mad at that bird. But I got to admit, I did not install them very well the first time. I didn't have staples with me. So I drove a nail into it and then just bent the nail. And so I don't know why I was surprised that it fell out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lesson for everybody. Make sure your work is good enough to where you don't have to go back and do it for free.
Can hold up for like a good while.
Yeah, I wasn't too proud of that. Caused me some problems, but I mean, it wasn't like it took me 2 hours. It was 10 minutes.
Is that the first time you think that's happened? Like someone's called
That
you up
was the
and you've
first
done
time
free
that's
work
happened.
for 'em?
Yeah, I feel like I don't tell people this, but that's just my own personal policy of like if I do something and it doesn't hold up or it breaks, I'll fix it. I won't charge you because I feel bad. Like I want my work to be quality, and if it's not, I'm gonna take the cost on myself.
It's happened to me before. I like did some wood project and it was outside and there was like some small cracking. So
Yeah.
I went back and like patched it, and so anyway, I just did it for free because it was my work that didn't last.
Yeah, I feel like that's
I mean, it
a good
wasn't
way to do
bad,
it.
but it was like something that needed to be fixed. So
maybe it's just my own conscience, but I don't even tell people that. It's not like if it breaks, I'll fix it for free. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
ever tell
I've
anyone
never
that,
said
but
that.
that is my policy.
yeah,
So maybe I should actually tell people that. Maybe they feel better about hiring me.
it might be a good idea
I have always thought
because
about
if we're gonna
that,
do
but
it
I never did
anyway, it's probably something people would like to hear.
Yeah. Oh, and another job. Sorry, we're going long on the first intro
Yeah.
question, but
I also had something else I want to say.
oh,
about it.
good. I want to go first.
Yeah, go for it.
I worked for another dude, and I was replacing, sinks where you have the pull tab in the back and it closes the drain, or you
Yeah.
push it down and it opens it. Those things always suck, and they get clogged or they don't open high enough.
They're
So,
annoying. Yeah.
I had somebody just called me out to fix those and get it to stand up a little taller so the sink could actually drain. So I did that for 2 of his sinks. Didn't take that long. But while I was there, he was this old guy, and he was just talking about his life and his career, and I don't remember what business he was in. But he said he had a company that he started with one of his buddies, and they did it for years. And then as they were kind of phasing out and retiring, his buddy's son took over the business, and he really didn't like the guy.
It wasn't the same as his buddy.
No, he was so annoying. All he cared about is like the company's carbon footprint and stuff. And it was like, you could just feel the disdain in his voice for this guy. And then he told me, yeah, he had cranial rectitis. I was like, what? He had his head up his ass. And I thought that was the best thing I'd ever
Cranial
heard.
rectitis.
Yeah, isn't that genius?
That is great. We've never heard that.
Leave the old guys to come up with a original joke.
Yeah, seriously, that's a good one.
Usually old guys coming up with original jokes, they're really, really dumb, but that one was pretty good.
That is good.
So I enjoyed
I'm gonna
that guy.
keep one.
Yeah, all right. What were you going to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I feel like a couple episodes ago you were saying like how much you made for this one job. So I finished up that drywall job, and it was like some other things. There's some woodworking too. It was mostly drywall. I just want to say like how much I made per hour.
Yes.
It's
I'm ready to applaud.
No, you're not going to applaud.
Oh, no.
So I was worked. I mean, maybe I should just need to stop doing drywall work.
Wait,
I think I'm too slow at it.
quick. I'm trying to remember that maybe this was 2 episodes ago. What you said you were anticipating to make per hour. I think you said like 45 or 50.
I think I said 40 to 50 is what I was
So
going
I just
for.
want to keep that in everybody's head.
You didn't need to bring that back up. But yes, I think you're right. Anyway, so I think I worked for like what I calculated was like 90 some hours just on drywall and
Holy
some
cow.
other woodworking. It really wasn't a lot. So I think drywall is just, I'm only going to take on really small drywall jobs from now on.
This is not your cup of tea, I think.
Yeah, it took way too long. Anyway, and I made, it was like 2,000 something. Anyway, so per hour I made $25.
Ooh. 25. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not as bad as I thought.
I mean,
Some people
I'm
would be happy
not
with that, Grant.
completely upset with it. No, it's really not horrible, but it's like
When you're playing for 50.
$3 more than I made at Home Depot.
Yeah,
It's just not great.
that's true.
It's not what I was shooting for. So, but it's not horrible money.
That's life. With
I can
this
pay rent
business.
on that. So
You can pay rent with that. What is your rent? That's not that bad, so you're fine.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That's
Yeah.
a little disappointing, but definitely not going to applaud you for that. But
Room for improvement.
it happens. That's true. Well, we'll be on this journey with Grant to see how he
Yeah.
improves and gets his numbers up. All right. Oh yeah. Sorry, we aren't actually getting into the meat of the
There's
show
more
yet. I
intro
just keep
stuff.
going with intro stuff, but I just have a lot of content here. Oh yeah, I was coming up with this idea. I was driving home from a job the other day, and sometimes you have ideas and they're just absolutely genius, and then later you're like, oh, maybe that's actually not a good idea at all, and it's the dumbest idea I've ever had.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure about this one, but I had this idea. I'm like, what if I rebrand myself as the classy handyman?
Okay.
And here's what I'm thinking.
What are you gonna sell him in a suit or something?
No.
He's got a full tuxedo.
Well, maybe. So you know how everybody thinks handymen are just trash, like alcoholics,
Yeah,
which is probably a decent stereotype.
probably.
And I was thinking, well, if I was going to work for rich people, because rich people still need handymans,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want some scumbag in their house.
Probably more than anybody that they're not going to do that kind of work.
Yeah, it's
themselves,
true.
so-
There's tons of work that a rich person would not
Yeah.
want to do. They'd hire a handyman for, but maybe they wouldn't hire a handyman because handymans have a bad rap.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if I branded myself as the classy handyman, and then I could be professional? I'd wear something really nice to all my jobs. But the more I'm talking about it, the more absolutely stupid it sounds. But what do you think about that, Grant?
I mean, it seems like
rebranding.
it'd be nice to just work for like in Paradise Valley and for some rich clients every time.
It would be nice. I
It'd
want to
be
get
kinda
in on
sweet.
that market. I'll probably make $80 an hour putting, like, I don't know, changing batteries, and
Yeah, just
Smoke
detectors. yeah,
I
easy
could
stuff.
get down for that. So anyway, we'll circle back on that, see if I end up doing that.
Yeah,
But that was my
New
idea
rebrand.
last week. Let's talk about the episode now.
Okay, let's move on.
So we are talking about clients, how to relate to clients, not just how to. I mean, this isn't a show about how to talk to people, but just when you're working for people, how do you just do it well? I don't know, just some things that we picked up, things that have worked, things that haven't. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be worth mentioning. So I wanted to ask you, how do you get like new clients lately? What have you been doing for that?
I mean, I haven't done a lot. I just feel like I have a small network of people who know me and that they have like told other people about me. It's like I'm
Yeah.
getting a couple jobs in the next few weeks that are just like friends of friends who I've done work for.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like that's the majority of my work too. It's
Okay.
just references from people.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're people I've never really met before, so. But
Oh, I see.
But yeah, they're like friends of friends. That's kind of
I
where my network's at, like right now.
I always ask myself this question when I'm working with a new client. And oh, hold on 1 second. My wife just called me. I want to make sure everything's fine. Grant, fill the dead air.
Oh, I do? I thought you were going to edit this out.
Oh, I'm not editing it out, Grant. That's too much work.
Okay. I guess we got to post it in 2 days. So.
Exactly. We're running behind schedule.
Yeah.
We're a whole week behind from our last episode.
Clients.
Oh yeah. Here's my question that I always go back to. So if I get a call from somebody I haven't met, new client, I always have this tendency to kind of lowball them because I want to get them.
Yeah.
But then I'm always a little bit like, oh, I could have made more money on that, and I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
I could have just charged a little bit more. You know what I mean? But I also don't want to not get them as a client.
Right.
Because then when I get
do
another
want the
client,
work.
then maybe they'll call me back. Maybe they'll refer me to other people. So I never know if that's a good way to run things, is just kind of give people somewhat of a deal the first time they call me.
I mean, it probably is. I mean, it's like literally getting in the door.
That's true.
Like you got to start somewhere, I guess, if you want to build relationships with people. But I mean, you have no idea if they're even going to want more work. So maybe it's just a one-off thing and you should just, charge a good amount.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like the majority of my clients, I don't work for more than once or twice.
Okay.
Just because, like, I do mainly, like, residential work for just homeowners. And so they're not always repeat customers. It's just like, oh, my toilet's leaking. Can you fix it? And then,
Right.
I'm sure they'll call me back at some time, but it's very infrequent.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, well, I want to set the expectation of what my going rate actually is. And so even if I lose a first client, I'd still rather make what I'm actually hoping to make. And if they say no, they say no.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other part of me is like, well, you never know. If you get this client, then maybe they'll call you back 10 times. Maybe they'll refer you to their friends. So maybe it's worth making a little bit less for the opportunity to get them as a client and as someone who appreciates your work. So I keep going back and forth on that. My default has been to just kind of get myself in the door with a cheaper price.
Yeah.
So, but I think I'm going to change that. I think I'm actually going to start charging more of what my going rate is with
Okay.
people, even if they're like first time clients. That's
Yeah.
my plan.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just kind of based on what the client actually wants. I mean, if they really want a cheap price, that would be the best thing for them. But like, I feel like not every client, or not even most clients, really want the cheap price. They just want quality work. So
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of what I've learned over the years doing it, is kind of like what I said last time, how one of my parents' friends said, "Why don't you charge $60 an hour?" And I just had never even thought about that. But like people are willing and happy to pay more if it's going to be quality work. And when I'm doing quality work, like people aren't sticklers on the price usually.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to change my ways. Would you say a lot of your clients are repeat customers? Like someone calls you and then they call you back in a few months?
Um, yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I do have several people I know who will do that. Um, like my sister who I worked for yesterday.
Oh, true.
um, but yeah, I mean, those are more people I know, I guess. But yeah, I think, I mean, some of the other jobs I've done for people I don't really know, it's just kind of been a one-off type of thing
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. Like some people, and you really don't know. That's why I always go back and forth about maybe charging them less at the first, because, it really could turn into someone who calls me back 10 times.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring me a lot of value. So it's hard to know, because there's been people who are just homeowners and they call me for everything that goes wrong with their house, every project they want to do. And like, that's really nice, because it's not a guarantee that in this business that we're going to get a lot of repeat customers, but sometimes you really can get like super repeat customers. Um, yeah, so I think in general, just as a general rule though, it's good to always just try to please our clients and keep them happy, because just with the default expectation of they might call me again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they do never call me back again, they may refer me to somebody too. Um, as far as maintaining the clientele that you do have, what are some tips there, or some things that you've learned? You can be thinking, I thought of something as I was preparing for the episode. Something that I usually do is try to just really communicate with them, like everything that I'm doing, or if I'm running late or something. Like sometimes it's embarrassing. Oh, I'm running 10 minutes late. I don't want to text them. I feel bad.
Yeah.
But
I'm bad about that. I think I need to work on that.
I found that people appreciate a lot more if you just let them know
Okay.
that you're going to be running late. Like, I don't know, even for me, it's like, oh, it's only 10 minutes. It's not a big deal. But I think people appreciate if I just let them know, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
And even if I feel a little embarrassed about it, it's better to keep them informed than to leave them in the dark and they're like, is he actually coming today? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I've been doing. That seems to work pretty well. I mean, there's no really way to test that, but just overall, it feels like people appreciate over communicating on where I'm at, what I'm doing, if I'm going to Home Depot, how long I'll be. Yeah.
Like how much do you inform your client of like everything that's going on? Like, do you like let them know like all the purchases you're making and like how much? I don't know, because I feel like sometimes I'll just go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and
Yeah.
just buy what I need, and I don't really tell them like everything I got, and I just give them a bill kind of at the end. I mean, I don't really
Yeah.
think they really need to know everything, but maybe some people would want to know that. And
Yeah, most of the time people don't care.
Okay.
At least if they do care, they haven't told me that. But I usually do the same thing. It's just like, oh, I got to run to Home Depot, and they don't really ask what I'm getting or
Yeah,
why.
that's never really been a problem, but I just thought maybe because I think I need just some work on the communicating thing sometimes with clients. So I don't. I just that was a thought of mine. Is like maybe just be more transparent, like on everything I'm doing, but
I
probably
don't.
don't need
I
to.
don't think anyone would not appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like I think it would lend you some more credibility if you're super transparent about everything.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that would actually be helpful. I mean, yeah, you can make an argument that it's not necessary, but I think it could, for some people, be super helpful and make them trust you more if you're just transparent about everything you're buying, why you're going to Home Depot, why you're
yeah,
doing this or that, why you're leaving early.
yeah. Something that comes to mind, like, do you ever or have you ever had like clients ask for like the receipts of stuff you bought, or has that ever been a thing?
No,
Okay.
which is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
tell them, here's
Just
the price for labor, here's the price for materials, and they don't
Yeah.
really. I mean, I'm never dishonest about it, but
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, they just really trust me with that I'm not just, I don't know, like buying stuff that I don't need.
Yeah. I mean, it's unless the price is like out of control. I mean, usually it's like the materials aren't even that much anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like 90% of the bill is usually labor anyway, so it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. Some people have given me like their credit card and be like, go pay with this, or they have like
Okay.
a Home Depot Pro membership and they'd rather have me buy it on their card than my own.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But yeah, generally I just buy whatever I need and then I bill them afterwards. All right, let's move on to, we've mentioned it a little bit, but just getting referred by other clients and what that could look like and how to stoke the fire for that, I guess, if there's ways to do so. Um, One thing I was thinking of is, like I said, just always being committed to quality, like no matter what, because you never know what impact one client is going to have on for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking through that, and there was one person who I had met when I was doing business cards, and I just threw out a bunch of business cards at Morrison Ranch, and nobody called me except for like one person, and I did a few projects for them, and they they referred me to a friend of theirs who was an investor. So he owned like a bunch of properties, and he's a cool guy. He owns a bunch of properties, but he also manages them himself because he's super handy. But he's older, and so he's kind of trying to do that less, just because his body isn't as available as it used to be to run around and do stuff for all of his tenants.
Yeah.
So now he hires me to do some of the work instead of himself. But yeah, that was just those people in Morrison Ranch who hired me. Like I was just doing work for them. I didn't know that this was going to come, and now I work for this guy routinely because he's an investor and he has lots of properties, and things go wrong with his properties all the time. And so he calls me like once a month to do something, and that was all just from this relationship that I built with these other people who happen to know him. And then this investor referred me to another friend of his who owns properties. So now I work for like two investors that I met from this one client, just as downstream from these people that I did like a
Yeah.
woodworking job for.
And that seems like a good client to have, like a really good one.
Yeah, it was great. So my point is like, don't ever sacrifice your quality. Don't ever like, yeah, you want to make money, but sometimes don't worry so much about the price because you don't know what it's going to affect down the road
Yeah.
if you really please these clients. Yeah, for me, I mean, the first people I worked for, yeah, I made a decent amount of money working, fixing something on their patio. Like some of the wood was warped. But I've made 4 times as much money working for the people they referred me to. Yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or any experience of your own with references from people.
Yeah, I mean, I nothing really comes to mind, but yeah, I just think from what you're saying, it's like you don't have any idea where it's going to lead to. Like
Mm-hmm.
any job could lead to much more work in the future. So
Yeah, always keep that in mind. You had a question down here? Who's your average client?
Yeah. I was wondering. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, just from what we've been talking about today, or just in general for me, like I haven't been doing this that long, so I don't have that many like variations of clients, and
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I just haven't. I don't have as much experience of you for working for like so many different people. So I
Yeah.
was just curious, like, what is your like average client? Like, what do they look like, and like,
What do they
what
look
kind of
like?
not really what do they look like, but like I don't know, like how big is their house, or like are they homeowners, are they, like you said, like retail investors or something that not
I
retail.
think I think my retail investors, real estate.
Real estate investors.
I think I do like investors. I have a relationship with like 4 or 5 investors who own multiple properties around here. And that's nice just because they're repeat customers and I enjoy that. And they don't worry about my price. Like not that I can charge whatever I want, but like they've never complained about it and they understand that, I'm running a business and I got to make money. Um so that's nice. But I think generally my average client is like some middle class mom in Gilbert who
Yeah.
like wants is bothered by this hole in their wall that's been there for
Okay.
2 months and her husband hasn't done anything about it, so she calls me. I was
It's
like,
like
hey, can you fix this? You know what I mean?
like they have a problem in their house and they just need it fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've done like a lot of stuff like
Now.
that
Okay.
where it's just like, yeah, we this happened a few months ago and we've been wanting to fix it, but we haven't, but we finally reached out to somebody. Yeah, so it's just like average people who just like have things at their house that aren't getting done. It's often things that like somebody could figure out, like a decently small hole in the wall that really anybody could patch, but it just hasn't gotten done in 2 months. So they're like, well, I just hired you to actually do it.
Right. Just get it done.
Yeah. Um, I will say this. I I like working for people that I know, but I always want to charge them less because I
Yeah.
feel bad. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like, well, if I was going to hire somebody, I would know there's kind of an expectation of that they'll give me a deal. Um, so it's nice, but I also kind of prefer working for people that I don't know because it's just I can charge whatever I want, and and not. Yeah, again, we charge whatever I want, but people accept these prices voluntarily,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're
Not
like,
extortion.
yeah. So, but I don't feel that way when I'm working for like a friend. Not that I don't enjoy it because it's nice to see people, but I do. There's always that underlying expectation I feel of, oh, I need to give them a little bit of a deal.
Yeah.
So, I do like when I can get new clients, people that I have no idea who they are, and I can be a little more flexible with what I
Right.
want to charge. Yeah, that's just something that I've thought about a lot.
Yeah. I think like for the last few months that I've been doing this, I've been mostly kind of doing what you've been doing, just like repairs and stuff, and
Yeah.
stuff that's been wrong in a home and just need it fixed. But I think like my ideal like client would just be like someone just wants some vanity project in their home. It's like
Yeah.
just something, because I like doing carpentry work, so like anything that they just wanted to look, just like redo a room or something like that. I like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just something that you can make look really nice, and it's not
Yeah.
really necessary.
Yeah, it's not totally necessary, but like I think it looks really cool by the time I'm done with it.
I like that too. I feel like that's where the money is too.
Yeah,
Because
because
when
it's
people-
people with like they got some extra money and they just want to do something new with their home.
And there's a different expectation of how much it's going to cost when it's something that you don't have to do versus something
Right.
that you do have to do.
Right.
Like if your toilet breaks and you call somebody, it's just an annoyance and you
Yeah.
want it to be as cheap as possible. But if you're like, oh, we want to redo our entertainment center,
Yeah.
then there's a little more flexibility with what you're willing to spend because it's not a necessity.
Yeah. So just when I think about like not my average client, but like my ideal client was kind of more like that.
And those are way more fun than redoing
I
a
think
toilet.
so. Yeah, definitely more than a toilet.
And a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
All right, final question. What's our final question, Grant?
Oh, this is one I thought of was what do you do for lunch usually? Do you like pack your own lunch? Do you go to fast food? You like QT, right?
I love QT.
Okay, do you
I
there
would
a
go
lot?
there every day if I didn't order like the worst thing for you. I just get like donuts and those roll things with the taquitos.
I don't
like
think I've
meat
ever
and
got
cheese
one.
in
Are
them.
those good?
They're
I mean,
kind of awesome.
I've had like microwave taquito things, but I've never really had
I'm
one
sure
from
those are
the
good too.
gas station.
No, the ones on the roller grills, everybody overlooks them, dude, but they're good.
No, they look good, but
At
I
least
just
the
never really got
QT.
one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm crazy about QT. But I don't generally go there for lunch. It's just like every now and then in a moment of weakness. But I'd say this is maybe last year, I used to bring like 2 hot dogs in aluminum foil, and then in the summer I would just leave the foil like open, kind of like to reflect the sun in the dashboard of my car, and it would just kind of cook them up,
That's great.
and then I would eat the hot dogs on a bun.
I've eaten hot dogs for lunch several times. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I did that often. It was pretty good.
I've actually done the same thing a couple times. Or not really. I had it in foil, but like I just had buns in a bag, and then I just had, the wieners like in a container.
Yeah.
They just cooked in
In
my
the
truck.
summer, you can bring anything and you can microwave it in your car just with the
Yeah.
sun. So it's not too bad of a deal.
I was doing that last week.
Oh, it's hot enough now?
Yeah, I just left it in my truck
With
the
car
I had
microwave.
to make sure the windows are closed, so it's like really an oven in there.
Yeah, and then when you get in to drive, you're like, oh gosh, I need to
Yeah.
get a new car.
Yeah.
Those moments always make me want to get a car with like a remote thing where you can turn the car
get
on
the
from a distance and then
conditioning
the
going.
AC's blasting.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford that, but one day maybe I will. It's a dream of mine. Yeah, what do you do for lunch?
Last like month or so, I've just been eating this I just like pre-make some like rice and chicken stuff.
Nice.
And the last week or last couple weeks, literally I cooked it in my truck. So,
There you go.
which I don't know if is ideal, if like to reheat chicken that way, but
Has it ever caused you problems?
no, and it tastes fine.
Yeah, I mean, who
it's
cares?
like a perfect temperature.
I don't think there's any risk in it.
Yeah,
My
it's
wife
never
would say
caused a
otherwise,
problem.
but for me, it has never caused a problem.
Yeah.
And maybe it's doing long-term damage, but in the short term, it's tasty and it doesn't
Yeah.
give me diarrhea.
And then, so I'll do that a good amount of times, but also if I'm, a moment of weakness, I'll go get Taco Bell or something. Usually it's Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Every
wow.
once in a while, I crave like one of those spicy potato soft tacos. I love those things.
Oh, you know what my kryptonite is? Is the Burger King at the Home Depot on Warner.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
right in the
right
parking
in that
lot.
corner.
And I'm like, oh man,
It's so close to the Home
Rodeo
Depot.
Burger is calling out to me.
Yeah, Rodeo Burger's good.
Yeah.
I've definitely stopped at that same one a few
Yeah.
times.
I've noticed there seems to be a connection between Burger King and Home Depot.
There's one-
sometimes.
yeah,
They're
the-
often in the
The
parking
Home
lot.
Depot right by my house that I go to a lot, there's a Burger King right
Yeah,
there.
it's dangerous. Well, I say we'll wrap it up for today.
All right.
I think we're gonna try and be a little more on schedule. So
Okay.
next Monday, let's get it out.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll try to get weekly episodes. So thank you, Grant, for your wisdom, and we'll be back next week.
All right. Bye.
And you got me that way, and I'm wondering if I came on too strong. Walking side by side and backwards down the stairs, all wrong. Can't even read or see the signs alone. Ooh, someone tell me which way. Tell